welcome to this week's edition of Kenny's Two Pennies. This week we're going to take a look at what was a promising start but a dreadful finish. But first, here's a couple of quick hits. What is it with some young girls nowadays? Don't they know how to dress appropriately? The other day I was at Walden Books over in Auburn looking for some book in the sports section, something about the Bills, as you can tell by my uniform. And then these two girls walk in and they got on skimpy outfits. One bends down to get a book near the floor. I see her thong hanging out for everybody to see. What is it with people? That thing looked like Kilroy looking at me. How you doing? Show some dignity for a change, would you? Guess what, people? Summer's gone. And guess who's just around the corner? It's Old Man Winter. And it's starting to feel like it now here in early November. We gotta prepare ourselves. Sometimes winter is good, sometimes winter is not so good, especially if you have to drive through the snow. But you know, I've put up with central New York winters for 37 years. Well, I guess I'm used to it. Orange fans, what do you know? After a week of getting our hopes up with that well-balanced win against Louisville, what do? We started out fine against Rutgers. It looks like we're going to continue with this little streak we were on. Maybe, hopefully, win the rest of our games, get to a bowl game. Oh well, it's just plain old wishful thinking. Because what happens? This Greg Robinson coach team reverts to, well, a Greg Robinson coach team. All the we've seen over the last 3.5 years came back again in the latter parts of the game. Well, let's take a look at the little positive we had. First, that nice 82-yard touchdown run by Doug. That's a homecoming if I ever saw it. Where he acted like a serpent, running around the field. I almost felt like he was tracing the outline of a sidewinder, heading on his way to the end zone off of that third down run. First I thought our run on third down was questionable, but hey, Hogue turned it into something real positive. And then about 2 minutes later, I harkened back to the glory days of Paul Pasqualoni with his terrific special teams play. The Orange block a punt. The guy comes running through on the Rutgers punter going, how you doing? Blocks the punt. And Damon Merkerson picks it up and scores. 14-0. I'm thinking, yay, we're finally going to have another thing to talk about. No more of these losses to Rutgers. And what happens? Typical offensive ineptitude. Typical defensive ineptitude. What do you call a team that only passes for 35 yards the entire game? What do you call a team that only completes 5 out of 19 passes? What do you call a team that runs for only about 72 or more yards after Hogue's nice run to the end zone? 168 total yards of offense, folks. That's all. 168 total yards. You can't win if you were a bunch of And what's going on with the defense? Rutgers only could rush or maybe get total offense of about 260 to maybe 300 yards a game. Kind of a mediocre number. What do? Roll up almost 500 total yards of offense. And that's without Raymel Rice in the backfield. Another one of them central New York defectors who thought of going to Syracuse, then bolted and went to another team. Of course, he's now running for the Baltimore Ravens. Mike Teal hadn't been doing really good passing. We did pick off a couple of his passes. He throws for about 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Oh well, what do you get when you have wishful thinking? You get a whole lot of nothing. Just 168 total yards of offense and giving up all that on defense. It turned from a promising thing into another typical Greg Robinson fiasco. We only got 3 more games, Orange fans, to deal with this loser. 3 more games before we could tell him, hey, get your ass out of here. And finally we can get somebody in there who knows what the hell they're doing, because it's obvious Greg Robinson can't build on any momentum. Well, what do you get, Orange fans? But let's talk about another little thing positive. SU's basketball team scoring a win against Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Although I am concerned it was only a 10-point victory, 73-63. Eric Devendorf got his scoring touch back, and also Johnny Blinn showed another reason why he's going to be one of the top players in the Big East and one of the top players in the country. And Chris Joseph, nice performance there, 14 points. But only a 10-point win against a Division II school? Come on. You gotta show me something better than that, basketball fans. Because this Sunday it starts for real against crosstown rival Lemoyne. Let's hope we can squish this bunch of fish, unlike what Buffalo couldn't do to Miami a couple weeks ago. But it's kind of neat seeing crosstown rivals, even if they're in the different divisions of the NCAA basketball. It's nice to see that. But, as I said, typical Greg Robinson team, typical result. 3 more games, that's all. 3 more games before we're finally rid of it. I'm Ken Haas, that's my story and I'm sticking to it.